Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Hi. Welcome, everyone. Great to see you all and on time. We'll wait
Video on
for
करें कुछ नहीं
Hi, Basan. Oh, I really appreciate that you have your video on. Would encourage everybody else to also have videos on, but also request you to mute yourself so that we can wait while the others also join in. Thank you, Rajesh, Pavitran, inviting everyone to have videos on so it can be as interactive as possible. It gives us more energy when we see all of you on camera as well. We will shortly be beginning. We have Malavika and Janni, who is slightly delayed, but will be joining us very shortly. We will be in conversation with both of them in a very short while. We'll wait for exactly 1 more minute and we'll get started. I see Arjun, Richie, Sufia, if I'm saying your name correctly, on camera. Great. Would invite everyone else to also join on cam if your bandwidth allows.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. While we're waiting for others to join, maybe you can quickly drop in chat where you're joining us from today while we wait to get started in just another minute. So for me, I'm Anjali. I'm part of the Bhumi team. I've been here for nearly 2 years now, currently joining in from Chennai. Would invite everyone to share on chat while we wait for the others. Suneta, we can, if Janni is here, just let me know and then we can begin.
Yes, he's there, and I've pinned her also. So Janani and Mal, you can come on video if you're ready.
All right, great. Amazing that we have like 76 people on a call already. Seeing a bunch of different responses, Bihar, Kerala, West Bengal, Coimbatore, Jabalpur. Great, keep your responses coming in. We will get started. Suneta, if you could please share screen. So this is part of our Becoming a Changemaker series. The last few webinars have been focusing on whole school transformation, which is the USP of the Bhumi Fellowship, if I can say. The title of today's webinar, as you can see on screen, is Say Hello to Socio-Emotional Learning. Now, what this hello means, we learn a little more about. It's not a typo. It is HELO, hello. We will learn more from Malvika about it. We can go next. To get a little insight on what exactly we will be doing today and how we will go about it, we always begin with norms. It's part of our culture now. As mentioned earlier, will be great to see you all on video and be very active participants throughout. I can see everyone engaging on chat. Amazing. I hope you have the same energy throughout. It'll be great if we can all be on mute so we can actually listen to what Malvika and Janani have to share. We'll ask for Suneta's support and Sonali's support in this as well. As you can see in the title of the webinar, it is Say Hello to Socio-Emotional Learning. So please be active, ask your questions. We will have a Q&A space at the end, so you can park your questions for them or also put it in on chat before, and we will get to it when we move into the Q&A. Would like to request everyone to stay on topic for today. Any queries that are not related to the topic, we'll either take it offline or over email. And it will be great if we can use the raise hand option so that only one person is talking at a time and we don't cut each other off. Alternatively, you can use the chat button, chat box as well. Right. And as for what we are going to be doing today, Suneta, yes, a little bit about the Bhumi Fellowship, what our mission and vision is, and some of the interventions that we're doing on ground. We'll begin with a quick check-in, post which we will move into our conversation with Janani and Malvika. Janani, who is a fellow from our 2023 cohort, she's currently in the first year of her fellowship. After which, like I mentioned earlier, we'll have a very short Q&A and closing. Some of you might have seen this on the website as well. The vision of the Bhumi Fellowship, although it seems large, it is quite simple. It is to achieve equitable education for all children through systemic change. And how we are doing this is through our fellows who are working in schools in the short term. Each fellow is there in a school for 2 years, a government school or a government aided school. And post the fellowship, they move into the education sector or the development sector at large and actually work to create impact in the sector in the long term. We currently have 2 alumni cohorts, and each one of them is in the education sector, making impact in their own ways. We're also hoping for our schools to become centers of holistic education where all children get excellent education. This is our vision for schools itself. And for this, we have 4 key pillars as part of our whole school transformation approach. The first being classroom teaching itself. All of our fellows spend time in a classroom teaching. English and maths is our main focus. We work with primary grades, that's grades 2 to 5. We work very actively with the Hello team, more on that, on what is Hello, to actually support teachers' professional development and their well-being. In addition to this, fellows also work actively to engage the community, the school community, parent community, for their classroom and also for that at the school level, and also support the HMs or the school leaders in any school level interventions depending on the need of the school. You can go ahead. Yeah. So, like I said earlier, we'd like to start by hearing from you. You can share on chat. It will be great if 2 or 3 of you can come off mute and also share. What is something you get a lot of joy by doing? For me personally, I do not come from a social work or psychology. I don't have a background, anything related to education. But of late, I've been finding that working with people, interacting with new people, traveling, that's been giving me a lot of joy. Doing webinars like this also. So would love to hear from all of you what has been giving all of you a lot of joy. Mal and Janani would also invite you to unmute and share.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hi, Sushmita.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, same. Like I love to travel. Yes.
Can you tell us the last place you have been to, Sushmita?
Kolkata. Last year I visited Kolkata, West Bengal, during
Great.
Durga Puja time.
Kolkata during Pujo is an amazing place to be in. Thank you so much for getting us
Yes.
started, Sushmita. Would invite everyone else to share on chat or come off voice. I hope I'm audible now, Divya. Would request you to check your network settings as well. So the question is, what is something you get a lot of joy by doing?
Hi guys, can you hear me? Hello,
Yes, Nitin, you are audible.
is my videos clear?
Yes, all
Can
good.
can you see me? Okay, okay. The thing which makes me happy or joy is that to engage with people. Every person, I need to talk a lot. I wish to engage with people, understanding their emotions, communication. Likewise, I enjoy a lot to learn from them. I understand that there is a psychology to say that the most important or the most beautiful book we need to read is human being. All other readings, all other books must lead us to read the human emotions. Then only we can get the understanding. So by we when we how to read the people emotion is to empathetically understanding them, their emotions, their perspective. Likewise, we need to read that. That is the one thing which makes me joy to understand their emotions, not being selfless and selfish and thinking about them, but to learn from them and to communicate our feelings to them. There is communication as well as listening should be happen. That makes me more happiness. And I also, like others, also I also love to travel a lot, read a lot, to engage with activities. Currently, our company is doing CSR projects, engaging with children, women empowerment programs, social welfare programs, also been running in this time. So the basic thing which makes me happy to engage with people, especially children. I like children a lot to talk with them, to understand their emotions. That's the most thing, the important thing
so
that
much for
makes me
sharing,
happier and
Nitin.
joys in my. That's the USP that me to learn. Thank you.
Great. What I took away is emotions, learning from people, and this is something we will be talking more about. Janani, would you like to share? Would request everyone else to share on chat, getting a lot of interesting responses in the meantime.
So for me, like I personally love dance. So when I'm dancing or when I'm teaching my kids now, the annual day is coming. So we are practicing dance moves. So when I do that, it's give me a lot of joy. Yeah.
Thank you, Janani. Also seeing a lot of smaller things, but like things that I just reading about it makes me happy, like going for a walk, getting away from social media, being in nature, spending time with children and observing from them. Malvika, would you like to share?
Yeah, so I mean, I love a lot of things, but because I live in Chennai, the beach is quite accessible to me. So I enjoy going to the beach. It's very difficult to think of anything else while you're, looking at the waves. So I really like being present in the moment and just, watching the waves.
Yeah, thank you, Malvika. I think for anyone who comes to Chennai, definitely something that I strongly recommend. This is one of my favorite parts of the city itself, and I don't know if I can go back to being in a non-beach city anymore. We will move ahead. Please continue sharing your responses on chat. For the next 20 minutes or so, we will spend time learning a little bit more about Malvika, Janani, and the work they have both been doing as in their roles as a fellow as well as a change driver. Anyone who is part of Bhumi full time, we call them change drivers. As change drivers, I can say. So to begin with, Janani, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, your educational background, and why the fellowship for you?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. I'm Janani Mukis. I'm basically coming from Tamil Nadu, like it's called Tirupur district. So I completed my master's in psychology, both undergraduate and master's in psychology. I basically completed in Chennai itself, and my specialization was school psychology. So when I'm doing my final year of in semesters, I got to know about Bhumi. So fellowship program. So that's the time I applied for the Bhumi fellowship. So you can sense the tense in my thing. Like I have to do this also, and I have to prepare for the final semester exam project thing. So that's how I entered into Bhumi fellowship. Yeah, this is my 50 little background. Thank you, Anjali.
Thank you, Janani. As mentioned earlier, Janani is in her first year of the fellowship, and we will hear more from her on how her experience has been. But before that, Malvika, would you like to introduce yourself? How exactly you joined Bhumi and what your current role here is?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Malvika. I've been associated with Bhumi for the past almost 4 years now. And I'm from Chennai itself. How I started work in this sector was because during my undergraduation, which I did psychology, sociology, and economics in, I used to volunteer at the in-house NGO of sorts in our college campus. And there I used to teach kids math after class hours. And that's how I got interested in the education sector. And I was pursuing psychology as well. So I pursued a master's in social work and mental health at Tata Institute, and following which Bhumi, came for campus placements. And I was very certain that I wanted to work in the intersection of mental health and education. And that's how I joined Bhumi in the role of an associate in the social and emotional learning program. Yeah, that's just how I came into the organization. Thanks.
Thank you, Malvika. Malvika has also been at the forefront of strengthening our current child protection policy. She has been instrumental in setting up a committee to ensure that all of our fellows, volunteers, everyone full-time at Bhumi is aware of child rights, child safety, or the entire child protection policy is rooted in that. And definitely somebody you should catch up for a longer conversation if you're interested in any of this. Moving on, Janani, as I mentioned earlier, first year of the fellowship, you're nearing the end, moving into your second year shortly. How has your fellowship experience been so far? And what is it that you have enjoyed doing the most as a fellow?
So my fellowship experience, it's been 7 months since my fellowship started. So year one, so we basically in fellowship, our role will be we work for the whole school transformation. When we take up on the whole school, have different stakeholders, right? Students, teachers, school leader, and parents, of course. In school, in the classroom with children, we'll teach a math and English for them. And my classroom is, as you're seeing, it's a fourth grade. In this picture, we are having reading comprehension session. Children are using like flashcards to tell like action settings in the story. So this is it. Apart from right in some students, and we also include SCL component, social emotional learning, and we have this in the basis of morning meeting every day before class. So in the morning, of an hour, we'll do a morning meeting. It's basically like we'll start with the breathing technique. If the energy is very high, we'll start with the breathing technique. If there are like very low pace class, then we'll start with one action song. Everyone will move around. So it will start like that, and they'll do an affirmation that a beautiful thing is they wrote for themselves. We thought of doing an affirmation. Then we get to know, okay, ma'am, we'll do a self hug. We'll sit in a self hug position, and I will say, then they will repeat one thing like, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am brave. They will tell it with their native language from English to Tamil they'll do. And in classes also we have calm corner, space for them to calm themselves down. In kids it will be like this. And when coming to teachers, it will be a structured space, a monthly once or twice, have a teacher circle. It completely need basis. And when beginning of my fellowship, I found out that a positive work culture is needed in my school. So we are working on, I have a co-fellow in my school. We both are working on that. And HM, if we are taking any initiative in school, we have a structured conversation with her. And with her experience also, we'll dedicate a space and we'll do it to the other stakeholders. So building a HM rapport is beneficial like in that fellowship role. And also in parent, we'll do a community visit and each children home will go home visit, better understand about the children. And yeah, so basically that is how this goes.
Thank you for sharing, Janani. I think listening to you speak about your classroom also gives me a lot of joy. And it's interesting to see how much you've taken up outside the classroom as well, whether it's fundraising or working with the HM actively, or even Dan Utsav, getting children to engage in different activities, right? Now, you already talked a little bit about social emotional learning. And I'd like to invite Malvika to share a little bit more about what exactly is social work, social emotional learning, and why is it important for children. And just before that, I'm seeing a lot of messages on chat with introductions coming in. Great, appreciate the energy. Would also like to invite all of you to listen in on what's happening, so we can pay attention now and then come back and ask questions during our Q&A. That's going to happen very shortly. Yes, over to you, Mike.
Okay, so sorry for just for my sake, because so what's social and emotional learning and why is it important, right? Yeah. So as you can see on the slide, social and emotional learning are these 5 competencies that's understood broadly by this organization called CESL, Collaborative for Academic and Social and Emotional Learning. They're an organization in the US. And these are the 5 competencies that they've sort of said are very important to be developed in individuals for them to have developed holistically, socially and emotionally. So these are the 5 competencies, and under each of these, there are a bunch of skills that are sort of developed in children. So CESL recommends this as a whole school program in schooling systems. And what we've done is taken these competencies and we've built content for children, teachers, and parents. We'll go into that a little later. But why is it important for children? How many of you here had some sort of, life skills class, moral education class, value education class in schools while growing up? You can just maybe show me a thumbs up if your video is on, or I see some responses on chat.
Yes, I have done. Currently I'm going through.
Cool. So there are, I mean, if we went to a private school, there are very good chances that we had some sort of, class of that sort. And I'm not sure how it was delivered to you. Maybe it was, very preachy and very boring or just some time pass class. I'm not sure how it was for you. But it's the intention behind that class that we're really talking about. In that, we're recognizing that education needs to be holistic. It's not just academic that you need to be taught in schools, right? It's also about learning skills for navigating the real world, for you to be able to speak to someone, for me to be able to do this webinar right now, right? For me to make rational decisions, for me to be able to manage myself, for me to know where I'm at, what do I need to improve on. Just academics don't teach you those things. So these are essential life skills that children also need to develop while in the schooling system, and that's really what we're doing. So this all of these are very essential skills that a child needs to learn during their schooling system.
Right. Thank you for sharing, Mal. I think this is already also important because the program was established in 2020, and that was an important point because children were under lockdown for 2 years. And they were under isolation, right? All of us were. And even for many of us, it's been so challenging to come back and socialize and integrate into society normally. Let's imagine for a grade one child back in 2020, when they came back to school, it would have been grade three or end of grade three. And it was a challenge for a lot of children to express themselves, to be around a lot of people. And we saw so many different cases of children really struggling to manage their emotions. And more on that from Mal itself. But before that, we've been saying the name Hello a lot. Can you also share what does Hello stand for and why Hello?
Yeah. So Hello is actually an abbreviation. It's short for head, heart, and love. Although it is spelled HELO, it's pronounced hello and not helo, if in case that's what some of you were thinking. So we were really thinking internally, how do we social and emotional learning is a mouthful, honestly, to convey to someone. So we wanted it to be fun. We wanted it to be catchy for the children and the teachers that we work with. So, we thought about it long and hard, and we came up with, in a sense, it's literally about using your head, heart, and love, right? So we used the first two letters of head and heart, and then the first two letters of love, and that's how Hello was born, and it's spelled that way. That's just a little bit about it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's a fun name and has nice actions to also go with it if you want to try it out independently. Coming back to you, Janani, you mentioned about it briefly earlier, but as a fellow who is working in a school, how is it that you take the Hello program to children in your classroom and at school level?
Yeah, I love to answer. So we've been talking about things like as Mal said, we have moral classes with Akshar. Then actually we provide a space for the children to practice what they are learning. So if they are learning about gratitude, okay, I should be gratitude. So in our school we had a whole week called Gratitude Week. So as Pongal time, it's celebrated. So we started why we are celebrating Pongal. So the kids told we are celebrating Pongal to thanking the farmers. So they are giving food, ma'am. For that, we are celebrating Pongal. Okay, whom should we thankful for? I asked this question, and children told. So if we are here, there are lots of reasons, ma'am. If we were giving food in school, the midday meals was there. The cooking auntie, we are thankful for the cooking auntie. The cleaners, because of them, we are able to. In the school, like neatly, the school was maintained. The watchman Tata, who's keeping us safe in the school. So, can we do something for them? I asked. They told, yes, we would love to do. So I asked them, what do you want to do? So giving the kids itself ownership, what do you want to do? They told lots of things written in the board and vote basis they selected. And they told for sanitary workers, we need to buy a sanitation kit with mask, gloves, Dettol. And for the cooking auntie, we would love to give a bangle. So they told bangle I want to give. So these and all. So I asked them how we are going to For this, we need money. How we are going to collect it? They said, we place a piggy bank in the classroom, ma'am. So we'll put the money for 1 week. So in end of the week, how much we collected? So we'll buy from that. So in every classroom, we placed a piggy bank actually. The children collected. You believe it or not, 1 week they collected around 2,000 rupees from their own pocket money, 20 to 15 rupees. So then they bought the stamps and they happily gave to the workers there. So it was like one uh, full gratitude week was celebrated. Then Dan Utsav was there. So children has to experience the joy of giving. So for that Dan Utsav, we gave a fistful of rice. We asked every children to take a fistful of rice from their home, ask them to donate it. Then end of that, we'll like 1 week again, 1 week we'll give it to donate it to orphanage or we'll decide what we are going to use it for. Then in 1 week, it around collected 334 kg something. So they decided to we'll use it in our own school, our midday meal, we'll use it this. And they also gave it to the helpers also. So we're providing this kind of space for them to practice it. And it's surprising for me too, they're taking it to their home also. So one children daily she's taking a fistful of rice and putting in the bag and end of each month going along with mom, she's going and donating it to orphanage. And another kid, we have a Seeds of Hope session. It's basically children learn about the environment they are living, plantation, starting from germination. And then we place this in our school kitchen garden and use this for our midday meal thing. So here she learned, then she goes and like growing on plant in their home and feeding animals. So these are the things that we are practicing. So
Every time I hear the story about children raising funds for the helpers, the people who are there as staff in school, it just brings such a huge smile to my face. Even as adults, we struggle with fundraising sometimes. I myself have gone through it last 2 years, and it's so inspiring that children can collect money and then use that to get useful things for people around them. In school level and classroom level, I understand how this works and how children can be engaged, right? Through affirmations, through morning circles, through check-in questions like today, actually, a different question every day. Mal, how is it that the Hello delivery actually works? Because Hello is working with multiple schools across Chennai and Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. So I mean, you saw what social and emotional learning is. You saw what the 5 competencies are. So our approach to delivering this in the schools that we work with about 40 schools in Tamil Nadu, 30 in Chennai, and 10 in Karur. So in these schools, we take a whole school approach. So we work with all the stakeholders of the education system, namely the children, the teachers, the parents, and the school leaders. So these are broadly the 4 categories, right? So why we do this is that we recognize that, when you want to develop skills in children, it's so easy for us to just, think about children as the group that we want to work with and start our interventions for them. But we need to remember that children learn a lot from the environment, and they need to see things in order to learn them and imbibe them. So it becomes very important for us to work with the adults around the child. So our work involves us working extensively with the teachers and the parents so that they can in turn support children's social and emotional learning. So for teachers, we do a series of workshops that focus on their own well-being and how they can teach SEL in the classroom for the children. For children, what we do is we create curriculum, or we create content to be delivered to children, and we give it to the teachers so that they can teach SEL to children. And we find that this is the best approach because one, it allows the teacher to be in charge of what the child is learning. They know the context best. And from a sustainability perspective, once, Bhumi withdraws from the school, it makes sense because the teacher is now equipped The teacher has now attended all our workshops, so she's now able to continue SEL instruction in the school and practices in the school, so that the child's learning does not stop even if Bhumi leaves. So that's what we do for children and teachers. For parents, we do a series of workshops as well. Here, the focus is again on community building, empowering parents, and also how they can support their child's social and emotional development at home. So this is broadly, the kind of work that we do with all the groups in the school system. Yeah, I mean, I could talk a lot about it, but I'm being a bit mindful of time. So you can let me know if you want more details. I will tell you a little bit more about our history.
Yeah, thank you. I was about to give a time check. We're at 6:30 and we have 15 minutes more to go. I have one last question from my end, post which we will move into Q&A. This is great work, right? Like there's so much happening on ground. But I'm sure on the flip side of it, there's many challenges that both of you would have faced. If you could share any two challenges that you have faced, Janani as a fellow and Malvika while working with teachers and schools. Janani, we can start with you.
Sure. So when we go back to my story, I completed my master's, then I joined Bhumi Fellowship. So before going to fellowship, we have an institute time where we learn about our roles. So 1 month period it was. After that 1 month period, we allocate sorry for that. On school, we are allocated, then we went to the school. So when going to the school, like imagine that school was already with 22, 30-year experience teachers already there. You are stepping in there and you are going to work there for another 2 years. So for them to accept you, like being among them, so and also for you to fit in there, it took a time for me. For me, it took 2 months to be with them, among them. And the second challenge that I face is maybe in school, it's every day we are going to school, like from morning to evening. So it's not every day not going as you planned. Some challenges might arise, something outsiders will come, so making change in your planning thing. So if you plan to keep half an hour first the morning meeting, then hours, then English period, then math period, it not always goes as your plan. You have to tweak your plan. You have to be with ready plan B and plan C. So this is some challenges I'm facing in school.
Right, adaptability as a key skill, and also being mindful that yes, we are new and teachers have a lot of experience. Also learning a lot from them, especially in the beginning while they are getting settled in, and then of course seeing how we can work effectively with them. Thank you, Janani. Malvika?
Yeah. Because we work primarily with teachers, both of the challenges that I'm going to list are to do with them. One is
Hello.
working with this. Sorry, I'm going to
Hello,
continue.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Hello, ma'am.
Would like to request everyone to mute themselves. We will open up Q&A in just a minute. You can post questions on chat in the meantime.
Yeah. So one of the challenges is working around the school schedule itself. So our teachers, most of them are government school teachers. I'm not sure if you know, but they are in charge of a lot of things at the school, not just being in charge of the children's learning in their classroom, but also like responsibilities around the school. Not just that, navigating their lives as women, most of them have children back at home. So they have a lot of responsibilities, and the school itself has a lot on its calendar in its limited working days. So a lot of time it's about scheduling our interventions and getting that buy-in from the management for us to be able to do our interventions. So that's it's a challenge that we work with till now, but we've been able to overcome this because of the rapport that we also build with our teachers. So it is not all bleak. The second challenge that I would like to mention is mindsets of the stakeholders, because we take a very facilitative approach to SEL. It's not a lecture style, and we talk about we ask them to reflect a lot and talk about the self a lot. I don't think in the Indian society we're not really focused on talking about ourselves. It's always, talking about us as a community, as a collective. So things like that, small things. There is a little bit of a difference in how we are socialized and how, our SEL approaches sometimes. So there is a little bit of a mindset challenge, and it takes some time to, get past that. But again, it's something we've been able to crack. But yeah, these are two challenges that we constantly face in our program.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. I think my biggest learning has been in the last 3 years that everyone in the system wants to make time for it. But when there's so much work happening on a daily basis, that's the way the system is set up currently. It is genuinely challenging to get that little bit extra time and space. And I've seen so many teachers genuinely come in and say, hey, we have thought about this for the first time. Thank you for making us think about ourselves. And it's so rewarding to be a part of those kind of spaces. And yeah, I learned a lot about facilitation from the Hello team personally. And while there are challenges, yes, I also feel like there's a lot of possibilities if we are able to genuinely build that relationship and connect with the teachers. On that note, we will move into Q&A. I see a lot of questions about recruitment itself, but I would encourage all of you to ask questions about socio-emotional learning, about the fellowship journey, and about Malvika and Janani's experiences based on whatever they have shared. I will pick out a few questions, some interesting ones that have come in. What support do we get after the fellowship for our further journey in social sector by the yeah, I'm not going to attempt the last name. Vaidik, I hope I'm saying your name right. So I think I can take this. I think I'm an example, Vaidik. I did the Bhumi Fellowship. I was part of the first cohort. Completed my fellowship in 2022 and then joined Bhumi full time. There are 2 fellows who are part of the second cohort who also joined Bhumi. Apart from this, like I mentioned, 12 alumni, and everyone is placed in a different organization in the education sector right now. There's Indus Action, Nalanda Way, SPI Edge, to name a few. And we have a pretty well-structured set of conversations where you get to reflect on your strengths, your interests, and what is that you would like to explore post-fellowship. And the team also connects you with people, opportunities in the sector to support your post-fellowship journey. Okay. I also see a question from Shiv Shankari on language, on why the interaction isn't in Tamil. Mal, Janani, would one of you like to answer this? Like why we prefer to speak in English when we are hosting any of our spaces?
Okay, I'll take it. We have candidates from, although the fellowship is, in Chennai and it's located in Tamil Nadu. That's also some of the questions that I saw in chat. If it's available in Uttar Pradesh. Right now the fellowship is only offered in Tamil Nadu. And although it is in Tamil Nadu, we have candidates from other states applying, as you can see, some of them who've put on chat. And so we want to be inclusive, and we want to, make sure that they also understand. English is a language that most of us here understand, and that's the reason we speak in English. You are welcome to converse in Tamil with your children when you're in schools.
Right. I was also going to say we do teach English also to children, and children learn English when somebody speaks to them in English, because actually for children from many of our schools, they don't have anyone to speak to in English, and that's why they find it difficult to learn. This is a very common concern. We have a question from Asma. Yeah, Nitin, I'm going to ask you to mute yourself for a minute while we answer to some of the questions here. Thank you. Asma has a question. Janani, maybe you can take this. Main responsibilities and objectives as a fellow.
Sorry, Anjali, could you repeat the question again?
This is a question from Asma. What are the main responsibilities and objectives of this position, which I'm guessing is as a fellow? So what are your main responsibilities?
I think I can't say a main responsibility of a fellow. I think when you're going to the school, and most of us is our ownership thing, but mandatory thing is you have to work with every stakeholders in the school, like Tamil and English and math. You have to teach them. So I'm in the school fourth grade. I am taking English and math for my class children, and also you have to work with different stakeholder teacher and like parents and head school leader. Then in second year, you have to pick a project. It's need basis and have to complete it. Then apart from it, have so much opportunities in Bhumi. You can collaborate with it and do it. To give an example, in second year, my previous cohort is doing a project called Seeds of Hope. It's basically an intervention for children. In end of this intervention, there will be a school garden. Angaranda, they will get vegetables, then they will use it in the school kitchen. So I found this interesting. So me and my co-fellow is implementing in our school. And there is another project called Wellness and Safety Education, where children is able to get to know about their own body boundaries, then stereotypical thoughts. So it's basically a need basis. If you feel your school is on need of it, and if you like to take up it, you can feel free to take this up. And Anjali, would you like to add something? You can.
No, this covers it. As Janani very nicely summed up, English, maths, and social emotional learning as basic expectation, that is working with children. In addition to that, of course, actively engaging with all stakeholders, and then totally up to you and your ownership. There's endless possibilities, I'd say. Great question on chat here, Gulab Shah. How do you deal with introverted children? Because if he or she is not opening, how can we develop social emotional development? Malvika, would you like to take this?
Sure. So I mean, I don't think that I mean, just from my own perspective, it's introversion is not necessarily something that needs to be fixed or addressed. I mean, children have different needs, children have different capabilities, and some children prefer to be quiet, and that's fine too. I think as a teacher, you would be required to include them in all of your classroom activities. And one way that we do this and ensure that they also have a chance to speak is through some of the SEL activities that we do. For example, there's something called a circle time activity, where children sit in a circle, and we try to get them to all children in that circle have a chance to speak up. And so we ask them a lot of questions, a lot of reflective questions. And so they have an opportunity to speak up. The teacher encourages the child to speak up. And also, I think about including different kinds of activities so that different learning styles are accommodated, different interest areas are accommodated. So I mean, it'll happen over the year. Some may click, some may not, but I think the idea is to be inclusive.
Yeah, thank you, Mal. I hope that answers your question, Gulab Shah. This is a longer conversation also, which we can probably have post-webinar as well. I will take 2 more questions and then we will close out with a checkout. To Harish J, who has asked, are there any sports events conducted by the foundation in schools? Bhumi Fellowship, no. We do not currently conduct events for children because we feel like that is a huge responsibility to take. And the needs of each school is different. So that's not something we have taken up. However, our shelters and communities teams do conduct something called Nakshatra Sports. This is basically an inter-school sports event that happens across geographies and cities. And some of our fellows have even gone and volunteered there. Currently, the fellowship schools, our children haven't been part of this because bandwidth issues, we haven't had anyone to train and stuff. However, one of our fellows has taken up sports as a project. She has currently initiated a partnership with YMCA College, and YMCA interns are coming and taking classes for children from grade 1 to grade 12 in the school right now. And she also conducted a school level sports day. So there is scope for it, but as a program, we currently are not doing any events for children. What happens to the school students after our fellowship is over in the school and we move out? Very interesting question. Will the path laid by the Bhumi Foundation be maintained there? At this point in time, we do not have an answer to this, I think, because we have not actually stepped out of any schools. Our current period of intervention is 4 to 6 years in any school. And since the first 2 years of the fellowship was online, mostly, it's only from 2022 that we fully started working full time in schools. In fact, all of our schools, we are going to continue working with them for at least 2 more years. However, we emphasize stakeholder engagement, working actively with the teachers and HMs across all grades to ensure that a lot of the teaching practices, a lot of the events, a lot of the ideas that we do, like working with parents, coming up with the PTMs, it could even be like seeds of hope, wellness and safety, so that teachers also continue to take all of this after we leave as well. Fellows actively taking up SEL related activities like morning meeting, storytelling, all of this, we have seen teachers also starting to take it in other classrooms. In fact, I can share one of our schools, Ambattur Lions Club Middle School. All of the teachers are currently taking morning meeting right now. And this is something that the fellow over there really worked with the teachers to make this happen. Yeah, I will come back to Nidhin. Nidhin, you had unmuted to ask a question, but I had to ask you to mute yourself. If you could quickly ask your question and then we will pause.
Yeah. Okay. I'm asking about the language. Do we need to learn Tamil language too? Because students are in private understand languages. So we need to learn for them. Do we need to learn?
Right. This is not essential. It's fine. You will still be able to interact with them. Maybe you can even go into your class, teach them English and ask them to teach you Tamil in exchange, right? It could be a very learning together kind of situation. Teachers and HMs also speak English to some degree, so you will be able to communicate. But once you do come into Tamil Nadu, I'm sure the people around you will help you bridge that gap. All right. With that, we will close out. Sunetra, if you could share screen, I will answer some of the other questions while you do so. How is it decided that which fellow will be posted at which school? Is there any preference or choice will be given after training? We definitely take some things into consideration, like whether you speak Tamil or not, like Tamil speaking fellows who can also read and write Tamil, like Janani, for example, we'll probably place them in corporation schools where that is preferred, right? Fellows who are not so comfortable with the language or who do not speak Tamil at all, probably are government aided schools or private schools. We'd probably place them there. Preference or choice, not so much, but we do have a lot of conversation with the fellows to understand how they are feeling and experiencing. And after the 1 month, we take a decision on this. And I hope this answers your question, Bharati. Yes, and we will close out now. We have overshot by 3 minutes. Sorry about that. In true Bhumi culture and SEL aligned also, we always try to start with a check-in and close with a checkout. If you could all share on chat how you are currently feeling and why, you can drop a number from 1 to 9. The image is there on screen for everyone to see. Yeah, if you could also share why you are feeling that way, that would be great. Thank you all for joining today. Loved the energy. It was extremely inspiring, and I'm very happy to see so many interesting questions come in. And I'm hopeful that all of you are going to come back and join the fellowship, whether as a volunteer or as a fellow. Yeah, would love for you to share how you're feeling. You can drop a number and also why you're feeling that way. Malvika, Janani, would you also like to share and then we close out?
I put on chat, I feel like 6. I'm feeling very happy and satisfied. It was a great interaction. It was nice meeting all of you. Loved the energy. Thank you all.
Same, like I feel like 4. So in beginning of the call, I had like difficulty to join in connecting an audio. So finally I'm able to join and the call was went well. So T4.
Thank you all so much. I'm currently at a 9, also feeling very satisfied and energetic after this, but also very excited about the weekend that's coming up. Wishing you all a very great and happy weekend. Please do join our next webinar that's going to be next week. Until then, have a great week ahead. Bye. Thank you.